3-2, then we will most likely finish in a shared second place. I'd be surprised if there are two players that will go, or one goes 5-0 and the other one goes 4-1. I'd be a little bit shocked. I definitely think we will see some 3-2 action from multiple players. Maybe even all the way.
It'd be fun to see. Well, we are in game number 2 now, and spawning up to the top right-hand position of merry-go-round. He is the blue Zerg player playing for Liquid, 1-0 up in this best of 3, trying to win the first series of the foreign hope for himself. It is Snute. And his opponent battling back from that first loss. He plays for Team Acer. If he wins this series, he will knock his teammate Scarlet out of the top position for the moment. It is Nerchio.
Of course, it's worth mentioning as well that Scarlet only has one best of 3 left to play in this group, and that will be played next, and she's going to go up against DMC. That is a series that on paper, of course, Scarlet should win. With a 4-1 score, she's still putting herself in a very, very good position, and it's unlikely that she won't finish top 2 in the end. The only way that she could not finish top 2, or that it could be an all-around tie, I guess, is if Bunny beats Nerchio, which will be played tomorrow, I assume?
Yes.
Yes. And then they both win all of their other matches. And that includes that Nerchio has to win this match. So in a weird way, of course, Scarlet would like to see her teammate win. But I think if Nerchio loses this match, it's good news for Scarlet, because then she's guaranteed top 2.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. And I don't want to count out that next game for DMC, because...
No, of course. I mean, yes, he still has to win. Excuse me.
I think DMC, looking at it, he's actually played really well in the series that he has done. And... it's not been a whitewash, even though he hasn't won a series. It's difficult not to obviously count him out at that stage, but look at Snute. He hasn't won a series yet either, but no one will count him out of potentially doing very well in this series and tomorrow as well. So I think it will be very interesting how he goes against Scarlet, but yeah, Scarlet definitely looking good at the moment to finish at least top 2. Now, in this game, we did have 14 pulls come down from both of these two players. They're mimicking each other quite a lot, playing a little bit safer. Both grabbing down the gases at very similar times as well. Slight advantage for Nerchio there, but nothing much to really write home about.
So, do you think that Scarlet is secretly hoping that Snute wins this series?
Oh, I don't know. It depends on the rivalry, because you get... within teams, you can certainly get that joyful... banter, and I think between Nerchio and Scarlet, looking at their pre-game lobbies and stuff like that, they definitely have that. So maybe that's there for the playfulness. And obviously, there's a lot of money on the line if Scarlet is able to finish top.
I mean, yeah, like if it's literally impossible for Scarlet not to finish top 2 if she wins her next series and Nerchio loses this one, because then either Nerchio or Bunny or Snute, they will all have 3-2, which is worse than Scarlet, and only one other player of those 3 would be able to finish 4-1. But anyway, that's theory crafting. We will see. Of course, Scarlet still has to focus on their own match first. But like you said, so far in this ZvZ on merry-go-round, everything is very even. Both players doing pretty identical builds. Now, merry-go-round is a map where we do often see some craziness in the Zergling department. Zergling banelings, sometimes Zerglings with upgrades. I'm not sure if we're going to see it this time. Snute, we know that he loves his roaches, and we know that as soon as it comes to roaches in ZvZ, most of the time he feels very confident.
Now, this is quite interesting from Nerchio. He's not getting down a baneling nest as of yet, whereas Snute is. Snute, though, getting a defensive spine crawler as well. It's unlikely that he'll get super aggressive, whereas Nerchio, 16 lings in production. That is a big flood of Zerglings.
Yep, that's quite a few links. He is running up behind this though, so he's not going all out, but he's definitely going to try to be annoying, pick up a handful of drones, and maybe force out a bigger reaction from Snute, and that is gonna, in that way, Nerchio is gonna try to put himself ahead. Snute is actually having all the pieces in the right place though. He's producing Zerglings. I think some of them will be out in time. He has 2 banelings morphing as well, and he has the spine crawler, and his own Zergling speed is about to finish up. I think Snute should be fine. I don't think he should take too much damage, even though the first Zerglings do just run by. That's rather frustrating.
They're getting a bit of damage down on this queen. Should be able to pick it off, which is a nice takedown there for Nerchio. Going to be able to prevent a bit of lava production from Snute. The banelings also were forced, which is nice. Quite a few defensive lings, and 5 drones were picked off in addition to that. So that's not bad damage in any way. Snute is still up in the drone count though regardless, due to the lava commitment of making all of those Zerglings. And now there's the counter attack, those banelings waddling their way across. And there's not really any response to the Banelings for Nerchio right now.
This is interesting. Nerchio is going to go with a big follow-up of Roaches, Banelings, and perhaps even +1 Carapace. The +1 Carapace is really interesting. That will allow his Zerglings to survive a Baneling Blast, of course, but it's kind of weird because it takes a long time. I see this follow-up very often, but not with the +1 Carapace. So we'll see how that one plays out. Snute is going to go up to 3 bases. He's making a lot of drones. The Roach one is going down. Snute really needs to sort of identify this as soon as possible and just produce nothing but roaches. If he does that, Nerchio actually goes back to droning now. That's interesting.
Snute has got a lot of information. He saw the Baneling nest to the front, which is really helpful. So he knows the Banelings are going to be a probability. And while he didn't see the Roach one, obviously he's seen roaches. So should have a good idea of what could be coming.
Yeah, Snute is making the same read as I was making. He was definitely worried about the big Roach Bane follow-up. That's why he's getting 3 additional Spike Crawlers. But Nerchio, perhaps because Snute scouted it, he's like, nah, I shouldn't do it. Snute is good enough that right now he has enough time to still deal with this. It's really interesting because he's going to have that +1 Carapace soon. These Roaches do allow a pretty easy cancel on the 3rd base. Lots of mind games over here, and both players just freaking each other out.
There's a lot of defensive spines here for Snute. He also cancelled his 3rd base. That's pretty cool. So we're going to see exactly what comes. If we look at the work count, it has leveled out slightly. Nerchio up in the Zergling count, so Snute doesn't really want to take this fight, does back away. Snute's got a couple of Banelings just sneaking around. If he gets a big Baneling head off on these Lings of Nerchio, that'd be pretty cool, but he will need 2.
Die, though.
Yeah, they won't.
With 2 Banelings they will, but a single Baneling won't kill these Zerglings anymore. In a weird way, I guess now Nerchio is in a good position again, because Snute made the correct read, I still think, at first, but then because Nerchio switched things up immediately, Nerchio was able to outsmart his opponent a little bit. He's adding a very quick Hydralisk then in this mix as well, which surprises me, because I kind of feel if the game is going good for you, then you can just go ham on the Roaches, because if you have more units and you have slightly better upgrades, then why not just make more of the same of your opponent, because then you will be fine. When you start adding in different units, the game gets more complicated. But I mean, I shouldn't question Nerchio in ZvZ, so I won't.
It is going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because he's going for a lot of tech just generally, and his 3rd base is on its way nicely. He did force Snute to cancel his and obviously produce all those spines and a lot of defense, which was a good read from Snute. But I'd say this game is more level now than anything else. Obviously at the start when Nerchio went for those Zerglings, he made quite a big commitment. He did some damage picking off the Queen on a few drones, but it didn't make up for the amount of lava that he spent doing it. Now, is attempting to go in, or was attempting to go up around the back to try and pick off that 3rd, but there's good defense from Snute here. We'd probably get a little bit of lull in action just while these two kind of build up a decent mid-game army.
Yep. Of course, Snute doesn't know yet about that Hydralisk then. I actually didn't see that Snute hatch was pretty much at the same time as the one of Nerchio. I thought that Nerchio's once was a little bit quicker after he was able to cancel it. But now I'm even more intrigued by that very quick addition of that Hydralisk then. And he researched... No, he didn't research Groove Spine. That's really weird, because like Nerchio got 2 Hydralisk and then he's like, okay, maybe he's just going to use them to pick off Overlords. Okay, I guess that makes sense. That's kind of smart. That's kind of cute.
There's quite a few Lings coming in towards the 3rd base of Nerchio now, and his army is out of position to defend this. A couple of Roaches are coming there, but there's currently just 1 and the Queen, having to pull back a lot, and this is buying Snute time. It's also going to let him see the Hydralisks, and that's quite important that now he knows that they're there.
Yeah, but it's not a... I mean, he already knew it because he lost an Overlord in the middle of the map.
Oh, did he? Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah. But it's not a real Hydralisk transition though, because there is no upgrades yet for the Hydralisk. He's not making more of them. He's just using 2 of them to pick off Overlords in the middle of the map and prevent Snute from having any map presence or map vision unless he really goes out with his units, which is kind of cool. I don't really see it being used like this very often, because it's of course a big investment, but vision is everything in StarCraft 2, we always say, so maybe it's worth it.
It's picked off what is 3 Overlords now, so that's a decent amount of damage actually being done, as well as the fact that, as you said, denies quite a lot of vision. There's a few more Overlords out on the map that could get picked off in addition. Now, again, we've got Snute going for these Banelings, and this could be one way where Nerchio could catch Snute off guard. If Snute reads into those Hydralisks as being a big investment, and Snute gets a good number of Banelings out in order to deal with those, that could cause a problem for him, when obviously Nerchio just isn't really investing in them.
Of course, but we also, like you mentioned in the last game, I mean, Banelings are a lot better against Hydralisks than they are against Roaches, but they're definitely not useless in a Roach versus Roach fight. If you can get good connections, if you get a good engagement, if they roll in from the right side or from multiple sides, it can still mess up a lot of the Roaches of Nerchio. So it doesn't really matter, and Nerchio is getting his own Baneling speed as well. So this time, perhaps we can see what I was kind of hoping for when this is going to be Roach Bane versus Roach Bane. You see it once in a blue moon, but it complicates things because, like I said, Banelings kill other Banelings so extremely quickly that there's a good chance you will see 20 Banelings being blown up by just a couple of Banelings from your opponent. It's going to be tricky to control for either side, but should be really fun for us.
Well, Snute definitely has a lot more Banelings on the field at the moment with 45 of them. That is a big commitment. However, Nerchio is also morphing in more, and as you said, it only needs a couple of Baneling detonations to go off on a group of Snutes, and actually you can get a very cost-effective trade.
There's so many Banelings on either side. This is going to be so nuts, metals.
In they go. Good control by Snute at the moment. He's keeping his Banelings safe. There's more rolling through, though. This is going to need some good splits. So many explosions over on the left there. But Snute just still has more Banelings at the moment, but that means he's got a lower Roach count. Trying to push forward, trying to get those detonations. Nerchio with a better arc, though. Wow. Great control by Nerchio.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful, the way that Nerchio handled that. He forced Snute to waste so much time controlling his Banelings, and the Banelings were stuck behind his own Roaches as well. And when they were finally able to roll through, Nerchio split up his units and he set himself up in a perfect concave. That was beautiful, beautiful army control by Nerchio. Really well done.
The other big thing about that was, while Snute had a lot of Banelings, which were potentially dangerous, he had to be so careful, as you said, and that meant that that supply in Banelings was tied up not doing anything, whereas Nerchio had less Banelings, allowing him to have a lot more Roaches, so the sustained damage was there.
Absolutely, just pushed out way more damage throughout the entire fight. Very funny as well that one Hydralisk is still alive. He has 5 kills now. I think that we should follow that Hydra on his journey. He never got any upgrades, but he's still a true fighter. He's struggling a little bit in the back of the army, but he's hanging in there like a champ.
He's trying to keep up. I can't blame him. He's got no legs, so he's just slithering. It can't be as easy when you're compared to the Roaches scuttling about, but we can hope he survives. Snute getting a couple of these Roaches on the retreat. Not a massive win. Resources lost-wise, Snute coming off quite a bit worse, actually, and that'll mainly be down to the amount of Banelings that he lost in that last engagement.
This is cool though. Snute is researching pathogen glands, so he's going to be able to land perhaps a fungal growth or two on a large clump of Banelings. But I must say, in the last fight, Nerchio did an amazing job in not rolling in with like 20 Banelings at the same side or something. Now, he set those Banelings up before the fight even started, and he let them come in from many different angles, making it really hard for Snute to avoid it. This is a very awkward fight, as there are Banelings on both sides. I have no idea what's happening now.
Banelings coming in. Snute getting much better connections there, running through with a few more. On the left-hand flank, though, Nerchio getting pushed away. To the south, Nerchio able to start pushing through and taking this. Both sides have got equal upgrades. Snute reinforcing with more Roaches. And Nerchio's going to have to back away. There's no way he can take this fight with so few Roaches and the defender's advantage for Snute. But behind this, Nerchio has got a 4th base.
I really don't understand why you wouldn't get Burrow in this phase in the game. Like, come on, there are so many low HP Roaches for Nerchio. Imagine just burrowing all of them for a couple of seconds and be back to full HP. Like, this might be a Warcraft 3 thing, but I'm truly obsessed with that. Like, I would always regenerate my units if I could.
It's a good thing to do. We saw it yesterday a couple of times, so it's certainly something which is quite big in the general ZvZ meta at the moment. Burrow is quite important, and yeah, Nerchio is now grabbing Tunneling Claws and Burrow at this stage. So another fight coming on through here. This is going to be a pretty equal side. Slight advantage numbers for Nerchio.
Yeah, the numbers are in favor of Nerchio, but there are spike crawlers helping out.
Oh, that fungal!
There is a fungal growth as well. I think Snute might be able to hang in there, even though Nerchio does have a crazy amount of Roaches though, and he starts working on these spike crawlers. This has been a very cool ZvZ. It seems like Nerchio has almost done it. There's just not too much left anymore for Snute. The fungals have been good. The spike crawler was pushing out a lot of damage, but I'm afraid in the end, it just seemed like Nerchio had a few too many Roaches.
So, 4th base gets taken down there. All in all, that was... I don't know, I'd say that was very nice for Nerchio overall. Getting that 4th means that he's still up by a base. He's still got that good economy coming through. Nerchio's up by 4 drones, which isn't huge, but income-wise, he's obviously got access to a few more geysers if he does want to take them. So, gonna get Tunneling Claws and Burrow through shortly as well for Nerchio here. And this is where we're seeing could
I
start
don't think
paying off.
that's Snute. I mean, this time Snute doesn't have the spines anymore medals. He doesn't have those queens helping out. He doesn't really have the fungals either. He doesn't have the pre-engagement positioning. I'm afraid that Nerchio is going to even up this series, which is of course good news for Nerchio and all the Acer fans out there after he played a pretty damn good ZvZ on merry-go-round.
Pushing through, getting a nice couple of shots down these roaches, picking away very, very nicely. There's the GG, and Nerchio is going to take this second game and level out the series to be 1-1.